Without wasting any more of yours or his precious time, please welcome my favorite poet, Charles+Potts.
Thank you, Jack. It's true, as Jack says, that the war doesn't seem to stop. And one of the reasons why the war doesn't stop is because of what war is all about. War is the attempt to control the economic future by force. And if you can't negotiate your way to the economic future, then you have to fight for it. Or they do. People would be happy, I think, to go ahead and negotiate. It was a long time ago. It's a different war. It's the same system. I was saying that I was looking for a poem that I wrote. We were together after we met in Seattle. Jack and I started a magazine together called Litmus. And I was drafted while I was in Seattle. This is a poem about my getting drafted. It's called I Dream of Oaxaca. Oaxaca is a state in Mexico that I like to visit. I dream of Oaxaca and the lean and haggard vigil born of love. I don't break laws. I reject civilizations. As I crawl out onto the Fry Hotel and run my tongue across a taste of ugly roofs, winterproof with tar. The blue winds of October blow the particles of light into the whites of my eyes and sculpt of the total sound of Puget flower to watch the sea turn fuchsia as the growth rings measure out the water. Oh, proton, dendron, axiomatic, all the proteins and the subteens and assorted deserters of the void all listen to the reassuring music the spaniel sings to me. Blood welded by a tire to the asphalt, except the flower of his head bobbed in the air and the 4 lanes going by too fast to stop. On Nickerson and his purebred open eyes adhere to the pain in my frontal lobe. It mounts a fear of trespass up the trapezoid, submerged in the terror of my species. Tonight, there's no tomorrow, and it's not too dark. The heliod casts a pallor on the particles of light picked from my eyes. Remember how we spoke about the great conspiracy of turning many into one? And spread out the fear beyond right now? The multiple facets of the world turn on to regenerate the tissue of an artificial scar grafted by the draft board on my spirit. Listen to the laser love, burn spots in a part-time Puget sun. I'll neither live nor die for any madness other than my own. As Mercury turns its cold side toward the sun, we dance around in the minuscule rattle of an all-too-milky way. And it's not the splitting that torments me, but the coming back together. The streets of Paul Regret. I lay in bed idly pondering Mississippi gamblers, of which Paul Regret was one. Lace-collared shirt, lighted cigar, 3 good women in every town the boat staffed at, between Davenport and the big new O, who do so fast, he was accused of shooting first. And the men I know named Paul came floating through on a clothesline and visaged himself like a lineup in a drunk tank. What a hit this poem might have been in Venice. Water, water, underwear, stuck a Bowie knife to the ace of spades and flipped it halfway to Kansas City. It's nice to have several different things going. The other word for that is strung out. Not much can be done with half of 5. And I don't want to make this a catalog. Thank God at least I'm not strung out on somebody else's criticism. If you hear something you like, buy it. It's free, and you can carry it home in your head. I'm really coming clean now. What interests me most is effortlessness, if suffering is what it takes to be beautiful. All kidding aside, I'd walk the plank for you. What to make of the country that I used to live in, the country I was born in, because it is no longer a country. America is an empire and not a country, and that makes it impossible to defend and pointless to attack. But it's out there flailing away. The United States is conducting war in 15 places at once, more than anybody could ever hope to win, let alone make sense out of. So once in a while, when I get really tired of it, I go back where I'm from, which is Idaho. Jack said, you don't need to know anything about Idaho. Well, this is called 15 Days in the Middle Class. My mother taught school and my father trapped coyotes for the government and beaver in the beaver house. It used to be a garage. And so they farmed and things went well. My father never forgave the Republicans, though he knew why the farmers were so prosperous in the early 1950s, war. A new white paint job for our house and secondary buildings. One time their cabin burned, but 2 weeks after application, the paint began to peel and my dad refused to pay. Who could blame him? But he got sued and had to pay $1,100 cash for the paint job and the court costs of the lawyer. It was all downhill from then. He began to rap at me, "Get an education, son, and your hands on the money." As they tricked him and he tricked me, some days I think I dig it. 6,000 feet high, my hands back in the dirt. My family tried to own 2 cars. My brother and my sister split. They helped me through college. Nothing worked. Their marriage paint peeled off a White House. Come on in. This poem is called Coming to Terms. Coming to terms, terms of endearment, terms of agreement, terms of reconciliation, with my father, since there were none, and with my mother anymore, now that they're both dead, Dad reduced to ashes, Mom to a one-legged cripple. Not that operating 3 diversified and non-contiguous ranches, farms, and pasturage, while teaching school and trapping as they raised 4 kids through one Great Depression, 3 wars where one was wounded, the consolidation of the school system, the Eisenhower high-interest 50s with a banker in their hip pockets wouldn't have been enough of an 18 to 20-hour-a-day nightmare, not counting dreams. They had, apparently, to have their minuscule operation in global terms audited by the IRS. Terms of the audit, testing whether or not the gain on the sale of that cow, the depreciation on this piece of farm machinery, overpriced machinery, was properly accounted for, calculated, and reported, added bookkeeping to the 10,000 tasks of Hercules that diversified agriculture was, before they and 50 million others were forced off of the land as non-economic nuisances and debris to fill one day the malls of America with their hungry eyes and dreams. Terms of understanding, terms of disbelief, school terms, starting and stopping, living on rainbow trout and dolly varden, venison backstrap, and the occasional sacrificial lamb from their modest flock, selling milk to the creamery in exchange for butter after the churn had stopped churning, the separator spinning the lighter cream from the heavier milk, a beef here, chicken every day after the flock of day-old baby chickens that had arrived in cardboard boxes on the Union Pacific spur line matured, boxes of 100 divided up in quarters to be kept warm under heat lamps in a chicken coop. I now notice when I pass what we used to call our place is tilting gradually into the gently sloping ravine. I've been guiding in election watching, taking in the family strays, sending money over the phone, building a potato cellar, covering it with bentonite to cash in on the boom and bust of Idaho's famous potatoes, to the things they did to try to stave off failure, and the picture begins to complete itself. The terms of the failure of their farming operation, the terms of the divorce making official, the terms of the failure of their marriage of over 30 years. The beautiful night I remember when Stan and Joy threw a party for them at the ranch house of Alder Creek when they were still friends with the emigres from Pasadena, the silver anniversary of their wedding in 1932. How can I, why have I not come to terms with any or all of this before? As ordinary people watch us walk into another Great Depression with the same distracted speculators looking for cheap profit to which they've added no value but the cash they took from poor people, the defenseless land, the indifferent sea.